Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? You guys ready to get it started? Well, what can I say, but it's an honor and privilege, as always, to be here with you. I want everybody to turn to the person next to you and say, strong in the mind, strong in the heart, strong in the soul. Do it. And I want you to do me another favor. I want you guys to write these three letters on top of your notes in bold. E-T-G. Everybody go ahead and say E-T-G. All right. So, if you don't know this by now, this is a ritual that I like to do every morning before I go out and bust open some new salon doors with LP. So just a little tip. If you guys want to go detailing with me, all you need to do is get on some lunatic fringe and give me a jump rope. We'll make it rain all day. You guys good with that? So, we want to talk to you today, and we got some special things. And I felt compelled to share this opening with you, to give you a little insight into who I am. I have been involved in the sport of wrestling since the time I was 4. And growing up, for me, wrestling is life. Wrestling in so many ways defined who I am. And watching this movie, how many of you, show of hands, have had Vision Quest before? Anybody see the movie Vision Quest? We have a few. And for those maybe who were part of the sport of wrestling would know how physical and revealing the process is to go through in this sport, mentally and physically. And so each and every season, before the season started for me, we had a bonding moment with my father to where he would put this on to be able to watch this, to get me ready for that grueling season, mentally and physically. And he used to always preach to me, son, always have a maniacal focus on your endeavors. And so for me, I took that to heart. So that where I am today, behind every aspect that I do, I treat my job like the sport of wrestling with that maniacal focus. And so each and everything that we do behind this team, you get our full commitment of support, that we will do everything in our power to help try to support you the best we can. So I wanted to go ahead and open up to talk to you and set the stage this morning and to talk about very exciting opportunities that we have for 2017. But before we get into that, I wanted to take a few moments now to be able to reflect upon this past year and that our vision quest of hope as we move forward. We all can agree that every time I've been up on stage the past 2-3 years, we've had some sales trajectory that's been through the roof, unprecedented results. Unfortunately, you probably have heard that this year we faced some adversity and that we finished flat versus last year. Now within Sub, I know in the hearts of all of you, in the hearts of myself, in the hearts of my team, that we do not accept that. We will not accept that. However, the underlying premise of what I'm about to share through a personal story of mine will reveal a greater importance behind any damn sales number that I'm going to see on the end of that P&L sheet. More than any other sales number, that doesn't mean a damn thing for us. And I'll tell you this why. Okay? Because for me, what we have to realize is that it's truly important to understand where we're going with all of this. That it's not about the sales. Through our trials and tribulations, through the highs and lows in our journey, through our work, through our business, how we're going to take your business forward, how we're going to take this great brand forward, will reveal clarity and appreciation no matter what the outcome is, win or lose. And so for that, I wanted to go ahead and share with you this, to put a story in perspective. Back my senior year of high school, it was my senior year for wrestling. This was it. I had 4 years. My freshman year, I finished 6th at States. Then I finished 3rd my sophomore year, 3rd my junior year. This senior year, guys, this was my year to make my mark. And what you see before you is this, to give you a little background about my purpose, that maniacal focus that I had. What you see right here to the right of you, this was my vision quest on my high school car, my dashboard, PIAA 140-pound state champ, 2001. I had this in my car, I had this on my locker at school, and I had it above my bedroom. To the right, to your left, I wrote every day in my journal. What you see here, 64 more days until States. 3 times I wrote 145-pound PIAA state champ, ETG, which I'll get into that later. And then on the bottom, I wrote on top of the podium. I got so branded to do this. I remember I was filling out a form one time, and somebody was asking me, where do I live? Without even thinking, I'm like, on top of the podium. I didn't even give my address. And then right here in the middle, this was really important to me because each and every day I told myself, all I see is gold. Because after all, for me, gold is my favorite color. And do you know why? Everybody say why. Because there's a big significance with all this. And I want you guys to write this down. And if you want to share this with other people, just claim my name 3 times. After that, it's yours to have. Is that cool? Gold. Generating our loving destiny. That's my acronym. And I believe in it each and every day. So I wanted to share that with you. So, throughout all of this, what we have now is to be able to talk about where I was coming from, to be able to talk about my wrestling. And one of the biggest things here is that back in a cold day, March 23rd, 2001, all right, this took place at Hershey Park Arena in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This was the state championships finals for me. 15,000 fans awaited in anticipation. For me, I was already 2 days in, and I respectively won all 4 of my matches, so that I was awaiting and sitting in the finals, awaiting a familiar opponent, to which all year, all the hype, so many people wanted to see this match. And well, as fate would have it, that became a reality to where my opponent, we were on a collision course and we both met in the finals. So this was it, Roccolano versus Rosero, 2 high school seniors undefeated. This was my time. All the sweat equity that I put in, this was my moment. I remember standing in the back of this tunnel, getting ready to walk out to the Hershey Park Arena, Eye of the Tiger, right? Pumped up. Everything I worked for, everything I own. The tension in the air was thick, but it was time for me to release the levees, to do everything I can. So I stepped on that line right here, and all I think right here is this. He's trying to take away my dream. I'm trying to take away his. Whistle blows. I'm in there. 3 periods, right? 6 minutes. Everything in the 6 minutes. I'm doing my thing. First period, I'm taking control. My mind is this. I shoot, I score. He shoots, I score. That was my mentality, guys. Stay control all the time. Second period, I'm still winning. I'm up. Third period, I'm winning. I got it. I could taste it. I could feel it. Everything I was working for, everything I owned, right? This was it. Now, I want you guys to do me a favor, and I want you guys to count backwards from 4. Ready? 4, 3, 2, 1. It's over. Ladies and gentlemen, while you might be thinking this is a victory for me, unfortunately, this is a tale of sadness because I end up losing in the finals. 4 seconds. Guys, 4 seconds. Right here in the papers, Washai Rosero looking to have that championship look, right? And I end up losing. And it's tough. No doubt about it. That was me in the papers, all in the front lines. I end up losing. I remember I got up and I shook Matt's hand. I hugged him. I blacked out. I went numb. At that moment, I was devastated. So I shook his hand and I ran off that mat. I saw him off in the corner, hurry up and brought it into his coach's hands. They lit them up. Everybody was cheering. Then you had half of the crowd. Everybody was in mourning. I mean, they were sad. And I ran off. And I remember, and this is where my whole story takes a perspective. Everybody says perspective about what we faced going through this past year and what our hope is moving forward. Is that I sat in that locker room after this match in isolation, tears. And I was going over and over and over. I'm like, how the heck did I lose 4 seconds ago? I mean, I had it, and I made a mistake. And he ducked under, and he got my leg, and that's when I fell down. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so I sat there. And then I remember my father walked into the room, walked into the locker room. And while for a moment, he put his arm around me, and I cried into his shoulder. That's right, I cried. I was crushed. And then my dad said, son, pick your head up, because I am so damn proud of you, of what you represented. Your whole life, I never talked about putting you in a win and loss column, because that wasn't what it was about. What he always put me in for the columns was the process, the progress and the improvement that I'm making, and heart. Did I have heart? Right? That was his mentality. Each day, day in and day out, since I was young, I put everything into this. I left no stone unturned, my dad said. You have embraced your process, son. You embraced the journey. You never quit. And he said, and I want you guys to write this down, life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. And you did just that, win or lose. Because to me, that's the definition of a true champion right there. And so I took those words to heart, and it was hard at that time. It's hard, right? But then as I look back on this, I had two choices. Number one is I could allow this situation to overcome me, or I could take that situation on and overcome it for the future. And that's what I did because I'm still standing here today. But I realized those lessons were important. Sports have a humbling way, or I would say this, sports have a way of humbling the greatest of champions. What you need to do is you need to stand up, brush yourself off, and get back to work. Because while I was bent, I wasn't broken. Am I right? So, I look to all of you right here and right now to say throughout this past year, did you truly, we got to check egos aside, got to check my ego aside sometimes, and just ask yourself, when you look in that mirror, did you truly give everything you ever had to gain what you want with LP? Did you truly embrace the process and try to strive for that gold? If you didn't, that's okay. I would like for all of you to reach out to us then so that we all could walk in this journey together towards excellence. But for those of you who could say, I truly embraced that process. I lived each and every waking moment with the purpose to try to strive for greatness with LP. Then I turn to all of you and say, that is great. And do not let that year-end number define who you are, win or lose. You let your whole year define who you are. Because at the end of the day, you have nothing to prove to anyone, to myself, to state. You don't have to prove anything to anyone but yourself. You have to be in charge of your own destiny. You create your own destiny. So I hope my words here this morning have been received for you to understand that what we pursue, we got to leave no stone unturned. And that each and every day, each and every waking moment, work with the purpose, live with the purpose to try to strive for that gold. So with all of you here, can I get your commitment with LP this year that you're going to try to give it your all and embrace that process? Everybody say yes. Yes. All right. And so before I exit, I just want to end on this final note. I remember the next morning I woke up in the hotel lobby, and I remember I sat down, get ready to enjoy a big stack of pancakes, 3 pounds of bacon, because I was starving. I was starving like Marvin all year. 140, right? I shot up to like 160 in like 3 days. But I sat there, and I remember my mom looked at me in the sweetest of voice, and she said, son, well, I know you were not on top of that podium, and I know that that gold is not around your neck, but more importantly, it's beaming from your spirit. And all I could say at that moment, I reciprocated with a smile, and I said, thanks, Mom. And from there, that's where I am today. So anyway, with that said, I hope you received my words. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this new year. Is everybody ready? All right. Let's go ahead and bring out